I didn't even put any of this on. Oops. Your girl needs a bit of powder. She's a shiny lady. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. This is the Rewatch series! And today I'm going to talk about The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book is a 1967 animated theatrical release and I've covered everybody but one person. Everyone I've covered will be listed and linked in the description. The one person I haven't covered before is Norman Carlisle. He was an editor on this film and he is best known for the black hole in this. The film is based off a book of the same name by Rudyard Kipling, released in 1894. It is based off of ancient Indian tales such as the Panchatantra and the Jataka tales. It has 7 chapters, and it's very disconnected. The chapters really have almost nothing to do with each other. The first chapter is the Mowgli chapter, and is really what the movie is based on. So I will compare the movie to the first chapter, and then I will just summarize the remaining chapters for you. Shall we compare? Chapter 1, Mowgli's Brothers. A mother and father wolf take in a man cub. Shere Khan demands the cub for a meal. The wolves drive him off. Baloo speaks for the man cub at a wolf council and Bagheera buys him for a bull. Baloo and Bagheera raise Mowgli. Meanwhile, Shere Khan tries to get the young wolves to turn against the alpha. 11-year-old Mowgli learns of Shere Khan's plan and steals a pot of burning coals. Shere Khan and the young wolves keep the alpha from catching his prey and demand he be killed. Mowgli uses fire to fight Shere Khan and scares him away. Mowgli realizes the only way to keep everybody safe is to join the men, so he agrees to do so, but he swears he will return and put Shere Khan's hide on the council rock. The end. That was the plot of chapter 1, which is the majority of the film, if you couldn't tell. And it's a little different, but pretty much, I mean, it's not as dark as the book, but it does hit the main plot points. Chapter 2 is a little bit in the movie. It's very different, but the characters are in the film, where chapters 3 through 7 are really different. But chapter 2 is called Kaa's Hunting, and Mowgli gets abducted when he's with the wolf pack, and Baloo and Bagheera take Kaa to help get him back, and once there, Kaa hypnotizes all the animals, including Baloo and Bagheera, and Mowgli saves Baloo and Bagheera from the hypnotizing. Chapter 3 is called Tiger Tiger, and it's about Mowgli hunting Shere Khan to become a man. Chapter 4 is called The White Seal, and it's about a white seal named Kotick who searches for a safe place for his family and convinces them to come. Chapter 5 is called Rikki Tikki Tavi, and it's about a mongoose named Rikki Tikki Tavi who saves a family from deadly cobras. Chapter 6 is called Tume of the Elephants. It's about a hunter named Tume who befriends the elephants and therefore is accepted by both the elephants and the hunters. Chapter 7 is called Her Majesty's Servants, and it's about army animals discussing what they do during the war. The film stars Bruce Reitherman, Phil Harris, Sebastian Cabot, George Sanders, Sterling Holloway, Louis Prima, and J. Pat O'Malley. Bruce, Phil, Sebastian, Sterling, and J. Pat I've all covered in previous videos. They will be listed and linked in the description. George Sanders plays Shere Khan and is best known for All About Eve, Rebecca, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and this. Louis Prima plays King Louis, and he's best known for Allied, Blast from the Past, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and this. He's a better known musician. He's a very famous musician, Louis Prima, and all of those credits are pretty much soundtrack credits because of his famous songs. Walt had Bill Peet write a treatment for this film, but was much more involved than he had been with the previous 2 animations because of their performance. Bill Peet wrote a treatment that was actually very faithful to the book, so it was very dark. It even included an ending where a hunter went into the forest looking for Shere Khan and set it ablaze, set the forest on fire trying to get Shere Khan. And Shere Khan killed the hunter and Mowgli killed Shere Khan, and then Mowgli is then the hero of the jungle and man. But Disney was very unhappy with this and wanted changes, but Bill Peet was very stubborn and ended up leaving the studio. Larry Clemens was then assigned to write a treatment and a script. Clemens really wanted to do like this flashback way of storytelling, but Disney was adamant and said keep the story straight, let the characters drive it. He was much more involved in story meetings, and all of the men together created the girl at the end because they thought love was the best excuse to get Mowgli to leave the jungle. They used the actors to shape the characters. David Bailey was the original Mowgli, but he got too old, so Wolfgang Reitherman casted his son Bruce Reitherman as Mowgli. Darlene Carr was actually just walking around the studio, and she would always sing walking around the studio, and the Sherman Brothers asked her to record a demo of My Own Home, and then Walt really loved the demo and had Darlene Carr do the recording for My Own Home. And as many know and have guessed, the Vultures are based off the Beatles. Animation began in May of 1966, 7 months before Walt's death. Xerography was used once again, just like 101 Dalmatians. All animals were based off real animals, and Wolfgang Reitherman even reused the Dalmatian animation for the wolf cubs in the beginning. The Sherman Brothers wrote 7 songs for the film, and Terry Gilkyson wrote the bare necessities. Walt really wanted the songs to happen where it could be really scary, and he wanted them to move the story along instead of interrupt it. The film was released in October of 1967 and made $23.8 million in its initial run. It was a massive success, mostly influenced by the death of Walt Disney. Sad. The critics all said nice things about it, but mostly said it was a great way to remember Walt. It has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. There are 2 sequels, The Jungle Book Mowgli Story, released in 1998, and The Jungle Book 2, released in 2003. Characters appear in both Tailspin and Jungle Cubs, and there are 2 live-action remakes, one in 1994 and one in 2016. The original video, link in the description, was actually the 100th film I watched, and which means it was the year anniversary. It was the 50th anniversary of The Jungle Book that year. It was a lot of awesome things going on in that video. I had Sammy and Alexa as guests, and we discussed so much. We discussed the great animation, we discussed the vibrant colors, we discussed the multi-plane camera being used a lot, we discussed Beluga, Baloo and Bagheera's ship name. We discussed Mowgli's knees. We discussed Shere Khan having thumbs. We discussed how the night to day transition was beautiful. We discussed how the jungle growing back after the rain and fire was symbolism, along with Baloo coming back to life. We discussed how it was Alexa's favorite. We discussed how it wasn't that close to the book, but the live action one was. We discussed how it's still a classic after all this time. We discussed how the beginning is really fast and the second half of it's really slow. We had so much to say in that video, and it's really funny, so definitely check it out, please. It is also my pleasure to say that even though Sammy and Alexa are across the country and couldn't be here in person, they agreed to make a video talking about the film again, so I'm happy to put that here for you guys. I actually will not be putting that here for you guys because Sammy and Alexa didn't film a video. And I thought about just cutting out that part where I said they were gonna film a video and just make you none the wiser, but then Sammy, I'll put it here, gave me permission to shame them. So I'm shaming them because they were together and we're gonna make a video, but they didn't. So comment down below if you're disappointed. Just kidding. I love them. I'm totally okay that they didn't make a video. It's totally fine. They didn't even have to. Out of the kindness of their heart, they wanted to, but it didn't happen. So I apologize for making that promise to you, and now all you get to see is me editing with post-braid hair. Back to the video. I have some new notes, but not very many. The major thing I noticed this time was Bagheera says 10 rains have come and gone, meaning 10 years have come, so Mowgli is 10, while wolves' lifespans are only 6 to 8 years. So I don't know how Mowgli still has the same parents and how his wolf brothers are similarly still kids. It makes no sense because wolves don't live that long. They are dogs, after all. So, Mowgli being 10, most of those, at least his parents, would be past, for sure. So I don't know how that's supposed to make any sense. The rest of my notes included the time. I actually kept track of the time. So King Louie shows up 32 minutes in, and everything before that is Kaa, Baloo, Bagheera getting stolen, all of that. King Louie shows up 32 minutes in. So much of the film happens in the first 32 minutes. Kaa is like 10 to 13 minutes in. I couldn't believe that. I always think he's later. He does come back later, but he's right at the beginning with Baloo and Bagheera. So, well, I guess Baloo's technically after Kaa, which is also crazy. I don't ever remember that. So the second half of the film, 47 minutes in, you see Shere Khan for the first time when you're meeting, well, not meeting, but overhearing Colonel Hathy, and then the vultures are at 1 hour and 1 minute into the film. So much happens during the first half of the film, and then even so in the next third of it. Well, first third of it, and then the second third of it, even more happens, and then the last third is just everything, all the climactic stuff happening. And I will say the second half of it was a little bit faster for me this time, I think because I was expecting it to be slow, but then it was a little bit faster, so I don't think it was as slow as when I was watching it with Sammy and Alexa 2 years ago now at this point. Wow. All in all, though, I did enjoy the film. I think I don't really have an opinion change about it. I respect it a lot more, knowing all the behind-the-scenes stuff like I always do. I also think it's curious that the first film in quite a few years that Walt Disney threw most of himself into was a massive success, and then obviously it was influenced by his death as well, so it probably had a lot of success because of that, but it's still interesting. If I have to re-rate it, I stand by 7, what did we say, belugas? Did we say belugas? 7 belugas out of 10. I stand by that rating. I think it's a really solid rating. I like the movie, but it's not one of my favorite classics at all, but I did enjoy it this time, so 7 belugas out of 10. Special thanks to Sammy and Alexa for making videos, or a video discussing the movie and coming back and having a little moment with the Jungle Book. Follow them on their respective Instagrams. Thank you. Our total, well, original movie count is 100, yay! And obviously, no parental crack count because we don't count that in the rewatch series. If you want to keep up with what movie I'm watching when, follow me on Instagram or Twitter. You'll find out what movie I'm watching when. I put up videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Until next time, comment, subscribe, but I'm not sure if you are, so you do. And don't be Shere Khan about it. I miss Sammy and Alexa a lot, you guys.